Hello, my name is Karen Hughes, and I am the Domestic Violence Clinical Services Coordinator for the Life Crisis Center. And I want to welcome you to Life Crisis Today. And with me today is Beth Moran. She's our Assistant Director for the 24/7 operations for the Life Crisis Center. She's specifically in charge of our Safe House. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you, Karen. Nice to be here.
Thank you. And we're going to talk about the Safe House today. Tell me about that. It has a history. It's been around for a little while.
It has. The Safe House was built in 1997 as a purpose-built safe house for women and children and anybody who for domestic violence. The Rotary Club was the driving force behind it, but members of the Tri-County really stepped up to ensure the maintenance, the ongoing maintenance of it.
Wow. So, what kind of, you said women and children, what kind of population does it serve?
Sure. We typically serve women and their children in the Safe House from the 3 counties of the Eastern Shore, the Lower Eastern Shore, which is Wycomico, Worcester, and Somerset counties. We also do serve men, but in a different capacity.
Okay. I'm sure that people have ideas of what Safe House would be like, what it might look like. Like, is it a great big dorm room with bunk beds and, what's it like?
Sure.
So tell me what it's like.
Sure. We try very hard to make the Safe House into a home environment. The Safe House has 4 bedrooms, and we could accommodate up to 16 residents. And, of course, we have cribs for infants. We have each room also has their own bathroom, which a little bit of privacy.
Okay.
We also have the dining room, a common area dining room, living room, kitchen. We have an outside garden area where the ladies like to go in the morning, have their cup of coffee before starting their day. We have a playroom, and we also have an outdoor play area for the children.
Wow. It sounds like it's very encompassing.
It is.
Living together, 16 people, wow. Everybody's different personalities, community living.
Yeah, it can be very difficult, as you can imagine. Again, we try to make it as comfortable as we can. It's a learning process, so we hope that the ladies can learn from each other. It's wonderful to see them really work together, cooking and laughing, and we have games, we have puzzles in the evening that, just building each other up.
Just to live together.
Just to live together, yeah.
So in the community, how would someone refer them to the Safe House?
Okay. There's many avenues to get to our Safe House. We have crisis specialists 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And we can get referrals from Department of Social Services. We get referrals from doctors' offices, police officers who may have to go into a home for a domestic situation, friends and family who have used our services or have seen our services. We also try to do a lot of outreach in the community. So I don't know if you've seen our big red signs, with 211, and we have tear-offs. So we do try to make ourselves accessible to the community.
Right. So if I need to come in, what are the procedures? What do I do? What can I expect?
Okay. So when somebody calls our hotline, either through 211, one of our local numbers, or our crisis hotline, they'll get a crisis specialist that will assess their situation. If indeed they do need Safe House services, they're transferred to our crisis specialist in the Safe House, and we'll talk a little bit about how to get them here safely if they need to leave at that time. We talk about safety planning. If the caller needs, again, to leave the situation, we'll talk about getting them here with a taxi or just to make the transition as smooth as possible. Right. If they do need to get a protective order at that time, we will also work with our legal department to make sure that we have an advocate to do that as well.
To go get the protective order.
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes.
So what if I might need to come in, but I'm just not ready?
Sure, that's perfectly okay. A lot of people are not ready at that time, and that's fine. We will talk to them about safety planning, gathering all their personal items, their IDs, their social security cards for themselves and their children, packing bags, sometimes leaving it outside the home. And if they have to stay in the home, we talk about safety inside the home to ensure that they're safe at that time. So and then whenever they're ready, we ensure that they have a smooth transition.
Okay. Sounds like safety is the biggest thing. So what if I'm afraid that my abuser might track me or know where I am or always, I just am afraid.
Right.
How can I still get help?
Sure. And sometimes that does happen. We are in a small community. If they do suspect that the abuser knows where the safe house is, we do have other accommodations to help them. So they do not have to worry about that. They can still call and we can help them.
So if Salisbury's too small, we have ways of getting them elsewhere if we need to.
Yes.
All right, we've been talking about women and children. Men are victims as well.
Absolutely.
What do we do for them?
Okay, so even though the men cannot actually stay in our safe house, we have accommodations for them as well. And of course, everybody is able to use any of our services. So even if they can't stay there, we do have accommodations. So men, anybody.
Don't be afraid to call.
Don't be afraid to call.
Yeah. What's a typical day like? If a person's staying, what is it like in the safe house?
Okay, a typical day is in the safe house is very much like a typical day anywhere. If the women have children, they're up making breakfast, making lunches, making sure their children get off to school. Then with the services or the resources that we have provided, they go about their business. They might have appointments, doctor's appointments. They go to Department of Social Services to get help, starting over. They can go job searching. They go to the job market, housing resources. They just pretty much go about their typical day. When they get back, they make dinner together. They eat homework time. When the kids go to bed, they sometimes they do their chores, and then they just sit around and just talk, and they connect with each other. Again, we have games, we have puzzles, we have TV time, we have movies. So it's just their time to just kind of wind down and.
So even though they're not in their own home, you're trying to make it a normal life.
Absolutely.
And also give them a way to help get them in the community back so they can be in their own place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The first few days, I can imagine that would be really difficult.
It is. It's a difficult time for anybody to be displaced. It isn't easy leaving your home and everything familiar. And I think it's especially hard on the children sometimes. They don't really realize why they're there. But it gets easier. I talk to them a lot about how they're feeling at that moment and how different it's going to be in a few days. And they don't believe me, but within a few days they come back to me and say, wow, you were right. It's just easy to be out of that situation. Right.
So the first few days, it sounds like they're resting and trying to get reacclimated as to my old life is over.
Absolutely, and within a few days, they're ready to do some case management and to get some goals.
Sorry.
Okay. It's hard to see any hope. But it's been wonderful to see transformation, and for them as well. It's hard for them to. It's satisfying for them to see how far they can come.
Right. In just a few days, actually.
In just a few days, yeah. So.
You mentioned case management. What kind of help does the staff help them and provide for them?
Okay. Individualized case management is key to their success. We work with them weekly, sometimes daily. They love coming into the offices to tell them, to share their successes. And so with them, we set up goals for them, things that they can achieve, no matter how small it is in the beginning, to to larger ones as the time goes on. But the goals, like I said, most of them are to get them employment or housing, or sometimes they don't have identification or birth certificates, so we hook them up with resources in the community to do all that.
So they meet with somebody, it sounds like weekly.
They do. A case manager is assigned to them weekly. Like I said, the crisis specialists are always there for them. So also weekly we have house meetings, and we also have domestic violence support groups. And I know, Karen, you had some of the support groups, so if you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay. It is a weekly group. It's for an hour, and it is specific to the ladies in the safe house, because I do other groups, but these ladies are living together. So sometimes they need to talk about that and what it's like to be not in a home that's theirs. And it's specific to them. But it's also about domestic violence, and it's about what are the dynamics and what have they been living and what can they expect to have a healthy relationship and safety planning. And so it's very specific for them.
Good. And I know it helps tremendously. Great.
Yeah. How long would somebody be able to stay?
Okay. The typical stay is 60 days, up to 60 days. And you know, sometimes I know it's not a whole lot of time, but during that time, it's amazing how much they can accomplish.
Right.
And if for some reason, if they have an apartment pending, we can do a little bit of an expense. Yeah.
Like it's next week, but their 60 days is today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like,
we work with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, the Life Crisis Center provides a lot. They provide the housing, and it sounds like they have food available for them. How about, are there needs that the Life Crisis Center needs to do from the community, maybe, to help with all this?
Yes, we absolutely do need donations. So every woman and child who comes to the safe house, we provide them with a welcome bag, and that's full-size toiletries, combs, brushes, razors, anything that they need. We also can always use pajamas. We try to furnish everybody with a new pair of pajamas. It's just a little comforting for them.
Right.
So we need undergarments.
All sizes.
All sizes, from infant to extra large women. We can also always use blankets and pillows and comforters and twin-size sheets. And one thing that people don't often think about is umbrellas.
Umbrellas?
Yes, we go through a lot of umbrellas. You know, they either break or we let them have them. So, and we also furnish them with journals. The ladies typically really do enjoy writing and journaling, so we do try to furnish them with that. Pretty much anything that you can use in your typical day, we can use as well.
Okay. So thank you, Beth. I know that a lot of ladies or children come through there, and we also help the men. But thanks for all the work that you do there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving the time for the Safe House. It's a wonderful experience, and I'm really pleased to be able to work with the community to help those in need.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for your time and your interest for the Life Crisis Center. If you do need to reach the Real Life Crisis Center, you can always call 211, or if you want to specifically call our hotline, it's at 410-749-HELP. Again, the number is 410-749-4357. Or you can use our website at www.lifecrisiscenter.org. And thank you.